Good evening, everybody. So for those of you who don't know me, my name is Alejandro. I graduated Mason in 2010 with a BA in sociology and a minor in biology. I'm currently the co-chair of Mason's Lambda Alumni chapter of the Alumni Association. And I used to be, at my time at Mason, one of the co-chairs in the Pride Alliance, as well as, I worked as an undergrad student assistant at the Multicultural Research and Resource Center, which is now part of ODIME. And I was also involved with the Mason's Pride Week Planning Committee, as well as a Safe Zone trainer. It is an honor for me to present a most honorable award today. The BrianPiconeAward Award for Leadership and Excellence has been presented to a qualified graduating student each year who has graced the university with a strong sense of leadership and advocacy for the LGBTQ community and beyond. This award was named after a dear friend of mine. In the few years that I knew him, Brian Piccone was indeed a strong catalyst for change within Mason's LGBT and overall community. Brian also recognized that social justice for women, people of color, people with disabilities, migrants, and many other marginalized groups of people is vital to combat systems of oppression and inequality. He also was one of those people who touched many hearts, and even those people who only met him once realized that he was a genuine and friendly, passionate person right away. Unfortunately, he left us too soon when he passed away in 2009 at the age of 22. His legacy now lives on with the students and the graduates who are earning this award. Dr. Amina Johnson, the Assistant Director of the LGBTQ Resources Office at Mason, will now be presenting the award to the students elected by the nominating committee.
Hey everybody. So, loud, like louder than I usually am. This is the first Lavender graduation where I have been emotional. I'll tell you that. So thank you, Graham. Anyway, Lulu and I had to decide who was gonna introduce whom, because we love both of these people so very dearly. And I will have to say that Ash Khan didn't want this award. He announced very loudly at Rick's retirement, I don't want the award. And so when we were deciding who to give this award to, all of us said, well, Ash said he didn't want it. And I said, well, he's gonna get it. Because he deserves it and he needs it. I said, but I'll ask him, I'll be nice. And so I did. And I asked him, I said, why don't you want it? Tell me why you don't want it. And in the true spirit of someone who deserves a Brian Piccone Award, he said, because when I do things, I do them with other people. I'm not the only person that does things. And so I don't deserve this award. And I see Andrea shaking her head like, yes, that was Brian's. And Jen and a couple other people said, absolutely, that's what Brian would have said. And that's what he said to me. And I said, well, you're gonna get it. So before I start crying, I'm just going to read what the nominator wrote. It was not me, because I was not on the committee, so I could not nominate Ash, and I did not write this. But I am gonna read this, and it has been a pleasure knowing you, Ash, and I'm gonna miss you so much. Like, we've been together for 4 years. Yeah. And sometimes he would come over to the little corner and talk to me and Graham. That was our talk show, Graham. That was our talk show. So, anyway, let me read this really quick. Ash Khan is a loud, proud, bisexual man. He has a good GPA and has participated in LGBTQ Resources Office, the LGBTQ Resources Office reconfiguration, Pride Alliance Executive Board, the Bisexual Panel, and Intersectionality in Comics presentation from this year's Pride Week. And he will never hesitate to buy someone a rainbow cake for their birthday or debate about anything cultural. Ash Khan is exactly the type of person that should receive the Brian Piccone Award. He is kind, generous, smart, dedicated, passionate, and involved. Over the last 4 years, Ashkan has been a leader in Pride Alliance. He has put on several programs and meetings about one of his major interests, intersectionality in comics. He has recorded some important moments like Pride Week's amateur drag show, as well as Lab Rag sometimes. He's recorded that and taken pictures, Rick's retirement celebration. Ash's passion for educating folks around cultural inequality and the inclusivity in comics reminded me of how the way Brian taught me, the person that nominated this, that it is okay to enjoy, love, and critiques all parts of pop culture to which you are drawn. Ash is unapologetic about what he likes, but always aware and eager to discuss the shortcomings of any comic, universe, character, or plotline. And with that, welcome Ashkan.
Sorry, I'm very nervous. I'm a forensic science student at George Mason University, so I'm more of a lab rat than an actual public speaker, so I'm going to try and do it the best I can. First, I'd like to say thank you to the George Mason Lambda Alumni Association for honoring me with this award. I would like to thank everyone who has and is still working at LGBTQ Resources, who have been my mentors, who have helped me, who have also taken me out to awesome lunches out of all the love in their hearts. And I would like to thank all my past Pride Board exec members for putting up with me. Especially you, Graham, you did the most.
I got you, girl.
So, my mom immigrated to the United States of America from Iran when she was around college age, because she wanted to achieve what she thought was the American dream and get access to higher education. And the school that granted her that opportunity was George Mason University. She graduated in 1990 under the College of Science, and 27 years later, I'm proud to say that I'm about to do the same thing. So I grew up in Ashburn, Virginia, and for those of you who don't know about Ashburn, Virginia, it's like cheesecake. It's very rich and it's very white. And so coming to Mason was a complete trip. It was, I've never seen so many liberal people in one area in my entire life. And one of the parts that I discovered about Mason was they had an LGBTQ resource office and a whole community which involved Pride Alliance. But not having that community growing up, I was very nervous going to any of these things. So, but I still followed them on Facebook, still got all the notifications, and then one day, when you have your Facebook app, it always tells you 1 hour before every event. It was like, by the way, Pride Alliance is doing an event, and it's on geek culture. Within an instant, I grabbed every single article of clothing that had Batman on it, and I ran out the door. And when I went to this meeting, I found that the people at Mason were loving and accepting and just overall wanting to meet new people. And one of the people that I met at this meeting was probably one of my long-term friends, Graham. I love you very much. But fast forward a few months later, after being a little bit more involved, I was on the exec board for the next year. And I felt at that point I stopped being an LGBTQ person and more as a part of a member of a greater community. But even though I was a part of that community, I still felt, as the new year went on, that I was still being othered by some members of the community. And I always asked, why was that? And it took the very wise words of one of my mentors to explain to me what intersectionality is, and that was Dr. Amina Johnson. She told me, just because someone is in the queer community doesn't mean you're protected from other biases in the world. You can be bi and still be judged for the color of your skin. The best you can do is recognize these intersections and work to make your community a safer and better and more accepting spaces. And after I heard that, that is what I did from my sophomore year all the way to my senior year, being involved with Pride Alliance and the LGBTQ community on campus. Since then, but since I didn't have a community growing up, I had this ideal idea of the community, of it's the most accepting place, no one was ever mean, it's where everyone is accepted and nothing bad can happen to you. But learning about that, I saw that the LGBT community was made up of people who have their own beliefs, multiple identities, who make them who they are. And it just happened that one of those identities fell within the queer community. And once you start looking through an intersectional lens, there's no going back. This lens hit me hard, especially after the tragic events that happened in Orlando this past year. After that, I started seeing LGBTQ individuals look at me more as a threat to their community than being a part of it. Hearing queer people say that the Muslim ban was a smart idea because these people want us dead, not recognizing that their queer identities were being used for social and political gains by some people running for office, one of them who's currently sitting in office. But intersectionality isn't always, you can't always look at it through a bad lens. I mean, it's also one of the reasons why I can flirt with a cute guy while he's giving me a pat down at a random search when I'm at the airport. I probably shouldn't, but I still do. But here we are in 2017, the year of alternative facts. We aren't even halfway done through the year yet, and just to list some of the crazy things that have happened so far that have struck me is Donald Trump is president, we got the Muslim ban, unarmed people of color are still being shot by police, undocumented individuals are being separated from their families and being torn from their children and also being deported. Access to healthcare is being restricted for people with disabilities. There have been attempts of repealing the ACA, restrictions to reproductive health services. The Dakota Access Pipeline is still going through and it's even already had a leak and it's not even done. And La La Land almost won Best Picture at the Oscars. See, all of those issues that I just listed are issues for the LGBTQ community. Just because they didn't list or are directly affecting an LGBTQ identity doesn't mean it hurts people and affects people within our community. It's our job as a community to fight against all injustices across the board. To recall some advice that was once given to Batman, it's not who you are underneath, but what you do that defines you. So that starts with being more involved with activism, going to vote in all levels of our government, being there to support other LGBTQ individuals and members of the community when they're in need, no matter what it is, trying to recognize your own biases and privileges. So, I would like to leave you all with a quote. Shocker, it's a comic book quote. From Amazing Spider-Man issue 537. In it, Captain America recounts reading The Republic as a child and tells Spider-Man what he believes to be what being a true American and a patriot is. It doesn't matter what the press says. It doesn't matter what the politicians or the mob say. It doesn't matter if the whole country decides that something wrong is something right. And this nation was founded on one principle above all else: the requirement that we stand up for what we believe, no matter the odds or the consequences. When the mobs and the press and the whole world tell you to move, your job is to plant yourself by the tree. Plant yourself like a tree beside the river of truth and tell the whole world, no, you move. Thank you so much.